Hi, I'm Kerry again with Best of Us in Retirement. I'm 76 years old. Been retired since I guess I retired back in 2005, so it's been a while. And on this channel, I like to speak in real life experiences rather than in hypothetical numbers and throw a bunch of numbers and charts at you and that you won't remember and won't be able to decipher, but share my experience and what I've seen happen. We have some friends. I'm going to call them Mark and Jane, and they're older than us. Mark was a over-the-road salesman in men's fashion. Had accumulated some money in a small IRA, as best as I can determine. And Jane was a school teacher. She spent 30 years in the Alabama school system and thus qualified for a pension. And so in some regards, I guess that you might say that Jane was the primary breadwinner. At least as you get into retirement, she was. So when she retired, she had to make a decision, and that decision was what kind of survivor's benefits would she take? Would she take the full pension herself? Would she take a reduced pension and give her spouse full benefits that she was getting while she was alive? Or would they take a even lesser reduction, and he would end up at retirement getting something less than what she was getting, but in fact getting something? And I'm going to go through the numbers as I know them or as I hypothetically put them together to kind of make a decision. So let's assume that, in fact, I was Mark and Jane's financial advisor when they had to make this decision. And I'm a retired financial advisor, and so I dealt with this. My first question would be, let's talk about longevity. Let's talk about your grandparents and your parents and your brothers and your sisters and what is their longevity. And I do that for each of them because what we're really trying to do here is figure out how long Jane's going to live relative to how long Mark lives. Okay? Because if Mark outlives Jane, we probably want to consider some survivor benefits. Makes sense. Then the next question I would ask is health. What is your individual health situations? Well, in this situation, I happen to know that Jane was a smoker. She was a closet smoker. But we would go out to lunch or dinner with them, and Jane would always get up right after she finished her meal and say she had to go to the restroom. Well, we all knew what Jane was doing was going in and smoking in the restroom right after she ate. You knew that because you could smell it on her, okay? So again, if I had been their financial advisor, this is something I would have explored. As it was, Mark was not a smoker. Mark was quite healthy. He was active. He wasn't overweight. Neither was Jane. And they were active in their church and activities, and were both pretty spry. So their decision, though, was to take the full pension and no survivor's benefits. So how did that play out? As I said, Jane passed before Mark, just about, I guess it was 8 months ago. And so Mark was left with no benefits. Let's look at the numbers then. Let's assume that Jane's pension was $3,000 a month. If she had taken a 10% reduction, and thus it would have been $2,700 a month, Mark would have gotten that same $2,700 for the balance of his life. But that isn't what they did. They took the full $3,000. That over the next 15 years, we'll say she died when she was 80, basically gave them an additional $54,000 that they wouldn't have received if they had given Mark survivor's benefits. Okay, how's that work out? Jane dies at 80. Okay, and now Mark is left without that $2,700 that because Jane got the full 3,000, the full 15 years. So in essence, they got $54,000 more than they would have if they took survivor's benefits. But Mark didn't benefit in the 34,000 he would get a year if he had the survivor's benefit of 2,700. So how many divide the 3,200 into the 5,400 and you come up with 1.66. So what that means is that once Mark lives a year and 3/4, they made a bad decision. Well, as it is, I said he's lived 8 months since she passed away. He's got probably another 8-10 months to go, and then it was a bad decision. Because now Mark, and I suspect, knowing him, spending time with him, he's probably got another 5 to 6 years there. They made a bad decision. And again, I think it could have been foreseen. Number one, she was a smoker. Number two, I don't know the longevity of her parents and her siblings, but I just think it was obvious. It was a no-brainer to me that they should have taken the benefits. Now, let's explore it a little bit further. As a result of their work situation, I'm guessing that Jane got a bigger Social Security check than Mark did. What will happen is that Mark, at Jane's death, files and says, Jane died. She was getting more Social Security than I was. So the Social Security Department will now send Mark Jane's check. But that still leaves him with $3,000 less a month than they were getting as a married couple. So if you have a spouse that is getting a pension, or if you are both getting a pension, let's assume you were both teachers, I just think it makes total sense to take that survivor's benefit and take a reduced pay, unless you know you're well, even if they were terminally ill, you want that survivor. If one of you was terminally ill and was on death's bed, again, you want the survivor's benefit in almost all cases. So that's my take on it. That's what I want to do, is relate real world situations to you rather than hypotheticals. I watch some of these where they throw up charts and this percentage and that percentage, and those are numbers that I just can't digest. I like people telling me stories and me relating to those stories. One of the other situations that I think Mark is facing, and right now I would say he's pretty solid, but that is of nursing home care. And nursing home care right now is a killer. It can if you get dementia or Alzheimer's and you're a single person, and like in Mark's case, and he has to go in, that's going to suck down $60,000 to $80,000 a year. So whatever you have, equity in your home, and any form of IRAs, whatever, it's going to suck it down. Nita and I signed up for nursing home care when we were 50 years old. Now, we've been paying on it, for now 26 years, and the premium goes up. So this is another high, intense decision you've got to make at some point in your life. So I'm going to do a video on that. Trust me on that. I don't know if it'll be the next one, but it's an important decision as we, as human beings, are living longer. Sometimes, though, our body lives longer than our mind, and we need to be aware of that. And again, look back at your parents and your grandparents and your siblings and see if you can get some clues. and make decisions accordingly. I'm going to do a video on that, I promise, and again relate to real world situations. So that's what this is all about. I hope to build a Discord. Not yet. We just don't have enough subscribers. So I'm encouraging you to subscribe, like the video. That's how Google, YouTube decides where they should promote my videos. And if we can build a tribe, much as we have at Best of Us Investors, I think we can benefit each other by sharing our experiences. Along that same line, go into the comments and tell me some videos that you'd like me to address relative to first of all, my financial advisor knowledge that I've acquired over the last, 25 years. And we'll go through this. We got to work together on this. This getting old isn't a single player sport. It's a team activity. I'll talk to you again soon.